Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Chase, aka That Gay Jedi, and welcome to another video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Happy May the 4th and happy Visions Volume 2 Day. Visions is consistently some of the most exciting Star Wars we get. If you aren't already watching it or you haven't already watched it, I just encourage you, watch it as soon as you can. Watch it distraction-free. Watch it with a little journal because it's really provocative and really just amazing. It just really makes you think. So I was lucky enough to sit down with the executive producers behind the project, James Woe, Jackie Lopez, and Josh Rhimes, and I got to ask them a couple questions about the creative process for a show like Visions. So I angled all my questions that I asked them kind of from the perspective of dramaturgy, because in the press conference in London, James had mentioned that they kind of act as dramaturgs in the creative process for Visions, and I've studied dramaturgy and I've worked professionally as a dramaturg before, so I really wanted to pick their brains about that a little bit more. And a little bit of context before I offer the conversation up to you all. A dramaturg is kind of like a librarian of a production. They're there to provide a lot of information, a lot of context. So they ask a lot of questions, they help edit, they help sort of shape the story, and the three of them do all of those things and more on Visions. So please enjoy the conversation that I have with these three. Thank you to Lucasfilm for the opportunity, and stream Visions. Happy May the 4th. I am Chase, aka That Gay Jedi, and it is so lovely to speak with you three. So thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for gathering. I was fortunate enough to be in London at both the panel and the following press conference, and I don't know. I'm super jazzed. I think that Visions is some of the most consistently exciting, thrilling content to be coming from Star Wars. I really think it's one of some of the best Star Wars we get, and I kind of have some core questions for you three, and I wanted to take them all from the perspective of dramaturgy, because James, I think it was you that mentioned how you all see each other as sort of dramaturgs in the creative process for Visions. And that, I really perked up during the press conference for that, because I've worked as a dramaturg professionally.
Oh, wow.
I studied it in college. And so I really kind of want to take that angle with you all today. And
Great.
I guess first and foremost, I'm curious as to which parts of the creative process for you all feel the most like dramaturgy-y. Is it the research side of things? Is it the curation of stories, or what part of it feels the most dramaturgy to each of you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the script development and the story development. I think finding, we're at our best where we have a creator, a filmmaker that has a vision and has something to say, and has something that they need to express about the world, about life, about being a human being. I think our goal then is to help be good story editors, be good dramaturgs, to help them shape that storytelling into the best form it can be to create an emotional response. And so some filmmakers are stronger at the writing process than others. Some need some help, and that's normal. And I think the truth is there's always a creative back and forth between developer, writer, creator. And I think we see ourselves as being the kind of creative producers that are helping them realize their vision in its best possible way. And of course, we have the other layer of it, which is what's an authentic Star Wars way of telling this story, and that what are the right elements that bolster that initial flash of insight that led them to wanting to pitch this vision. So that's what I meant by the dramaturg idea.
Yeah. And I think it could be intimidating, I think, for a brand new studio who's never made anything Star Wars to just jump in. And they did jump in because we wanted it to come directly from their hearts, directly from their culture. But again, like James said, it's, between all of us, we have probably thousands and thousands of hours of Star Wars development under our belts. So yeah, we were just a partner through the whole process, through editorial, through cuts, them asking about lines. Does this sound right about the Force? Does this not sound right? Maybe you lose this line and it's more powerful without it. There's so much I think we have all learned through the process of working, across the franchise with Kathy, with Filoni, on all of our projects that we help then, arm these studios with, so they can give us their strongest story.
And just really quickly, and Jackie, I'll make this quick, I swear. Each one of these creators has different needs at different steps of the process. Like animation, really unique. Not everybody gets everything on the page. Some of these creators really their storytelling arc comes alive in a visual way and in storyboards. And so, sometimes storyboards were weighing in more than we were with other studios. It really just depends on how they work.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. Just from a production standpoint, I feel like then crafting that story is a big part of, like, no matter how good the script is, if you can't get it realized, it's, so just making sure this everything is up to quality and excellence, and their story points are getting across, and it's clear, and the voice cast is correct, and the rendering is beautiful, and so it just all along the way we're on board that train all the way to the very, very end when we're making masters.
I love that. This, like, it just sounds like it sounds like one of the most like electrifying creative spaces to me. Like, it just sounds really, really collaborative. And I'm really curious, like, I've been dying to ask you guys this. I'm so excited. I'm just wondering, have you ever been asked a question by one of the studios, and specifically maybe in Volume 2, that has sort of changed the way that you personally view and experience Star Wars?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I need to think about that.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think, and we've talked about this, and it's funny that Filoni brings this up a lot. Like, I think Cartoon Saloons is one of the best arguments for like why one would join the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super compelling, and you
Yeah.
really feel for this girl and where she comes from and what her plight is, and
Yeah,
then
you never think she's evil. Like, you
Yeah.
yeah, and you're kind of heartbroken at the end, but also yet emotionally fulfilled at the same time a little bit, because
It's weird. Yeah.
yeah. So they really do this amazing tight walk, and then they do it all with the Cartoon Saloon style, with the Celtic myth, the banshee in the cave.
Yes.
But then it feels Star Wars at the end, like Luke going into that cave in Empire. So that was really unique for us, that one.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think anything really made me feel like, oh, I've never looked at Star Wars this way. But I will say things like Sith's art expression of Star Wars was something that we'd never done before, and hadn't needed a Rodrigo to come with that voice and that vision. When he brought it, it felt right. It felt like, those underpinning universal themes and that metaphor of the Force can be that viable and translate into other expressions.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say that too.
it was new. Yeah. It was
and
new.
Triggerfish as well, with this music, having
Oh my gosh.
song in your voice. And so I think that was really interesting, that the Force, the way it was represented in very different ways than we usually do it in the rest of our content.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And it worked. And it worked because, it fits so well into the story, and, serving that purpose of going on your journey.
Yeah, I mean, the aesthetic of Triggerfish is one of those things. We went to them for a reason. We loved the work they were doing, but this little fuzzy kind of doll, like, it feels so right. But that was a new way of looking at a story like that.
Absolutely. Okay, I know we're so close on time, so I just want to ask you all one more thing. Is a lot in the theater world, dramaturgs we ask ourselves, like, why this play now, and give it sort of some like real world context. And it feels like with Volume 1, 2, maybe a little less so, but Volume 2 really felt relevant in very specific themes and stories being told. Was that an intentional choice in your guys' curation of this volume, or did it kind of just happen to be like a sign of the times and just kind of happen to be that way?
I don't know if things resonate. I mean, yes, that's a great question. That's exactly always look through the lens.
I would say, when you ask an artist to make a piece of art, it's going to come out of the time they're in.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to come out of what's culturally relevant at that time, I think.
Yeah. And conversely, it resonates.
Or what's the most oppressive, thing that's happening in their culture.
Yeah.
But it resonates. It resonates that way.
Yeah, it's like it's both the artist and the audience. It's in context of the time. Yeah.
Star Wars is just a long tradition of that. When George made both of his trilogies, it's like he had a lot on his mind about the world. And in our early discussions, we'd talk through, those inspirations with the studios. And I think that really bolstered, their bravery and their heartfelt, deep pitches as well for their stories.
Absolutely. Well, you all killed it. Thank you so much. It's really nice to talk with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase.
Appreciate it.